It's Wednesday, February 26, 2025. The powerful backing of express immigration. The House passes a budget, but hurdles remain, and I don't get Hooters. Next on the AM Update.
We're going to be doing something else that's going to be very good. We're going to be selling a gold card.
Just last week, DOGE uncovered a $2 billion grant to a Stacey Abrams-affiliated group.
We can't let them deport the millions of families across this country. If you look at the food that's on your table, think about who picked it.
Section 560, your instructions for the hold short of runway 31 center.
If the bones of Jesus were discovered, for instance, would this be the kind of thing that would essentially just invalidate all of the religious experience that you may have had in your life?
Donald Trump announced a new plan for legal immigration.
We're going to be doing something else that's going to be very good. We're going to be selling a gold card. You have a green card. This is a gold card. We're going to be putting a price on that card of about $5 million, and that's going to give you green card privileges plus. It's going to be a route to citizenship, and wealthy people will be coming into our country by buying this card. They'll be wealthy, and they'll be successful, and they'll be spending a lot of money and paying a lot of taxes and employing a lot of people.
So that is Donald Trump's plan for the gold card. It's like a green card, but you have to pay $5 million to actually obtain it if you want to become a citizen of the United States. Interesting idea. The United States and Ukraine have reportedly agreed to the terms of a draft on a minerals deal central to Kiev's push to win Washington's support as President Trump seeks to rapidly end the war with Russia. Sources familiar with the contents of the draft agreement spoke to media and says it does not specify any U.S. security guarantees or continued flow of weapons, but says the United States wants Ukraine to be free, sovereign, and secure. One of those sources, aforementioned sources familiar with the deal, said future weapons shipments are still being discussed between Washington and Kiev. The U.S. House passed a budget bill outlining $4.5 trillion in continued Trump tax cuts, $2 trillion in spending cuts, and a 2-year lift of the debt ceiling. There are reports circulating that this also adds to the deficit by this tune of trillions of dollars over the next 10 years. They passed the budget with a 217 to 215 vote. Congressman Thomas Massey of Kentucky was the only no vote coming out of the Republican side. Speaker Mike Johnson said he just learned what DOGE uncovered.
Just last week, DOGE uncovered a $2 billion grant to a Stacey Abrams-affiliated group that only had $100 in their bank account, a cheap website, and zero experience in managing energy projects. That was the subject of that grant. Just one glaring example of the enormous misuse of taxpayer dollars, and we're finding that. Every day we're learning more and more about what has been hidden from Congress for so long, and this is going to change the way the federal government works and operates. It is truly transformational.
House Speaker Mike Johnson on DOGE and their latest findings, finding a Stacey Abrams, former Georgia gubernatorial candidate. She is, in some people's minds, still the governor of the state of Georgia, talking about grants that were given to a group aligned with her that really didn't know what they were doing. They were tasked with some sort of green energy project. Not sure what to make about that. Pope Francis was in critical but stable condition yesterday as he worked from the hospital while battling double pneumonia. The Vatican's evening update said the 88-year-old Pope had no new respiratory crises and that his blood parameters were stable. He underwent a follow-up CAT scan Tuesday evening to check the lung infection, but no results were provided. Doctor said his prognosis remained guarded. 3 judges yesterday blocked the Trump administration, or attempted to block the Trump administration, from freezing foreign aid, federal grants, and limiting refugees. All of those 3 judges across the country in various courts were appointed by Joe Biden. Hey, we've got a Who Will Pick the Cotton update. Here's Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal.
We can't let them continue their lies and their distractions. We can't let them deport the millions of families across this country who have been doing the work that keeps our economy going every day. We can't let them scapegoat and criminalize immigrants who contribute, who are our neighbors, our friends, our churchgoers, our community around us that we deeply love. Immigrants are us. Immigrants are us, and we all deserve respect and dignity. If you look at the food that's on your table, think about who picked it. If you look at your homes, think about who built them. If you look at your vulnerable elders and your kids, think about who's taking care of them.
Yes, indeed. I love it when they say the quiet part out loud. Who will pick our food? Who will pick our cotton? Who will do the menial labor that we don't want to pay living wages to actual U.S. citizens to do? That is Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal. I mean, do they even hear themselves speak? Because they say this over and over again. Who will pick the cotton? Who will be our human chattel? Thank you very much, Congresswoman Jayapal. Now, I confirmed this story myself. I confirmed it in the morning, and then it wasn't working. I couldn't replicate it in the afternoon. Apple's iPhone voice-to-text feature is sparking controversy after a viral TikTok video showed a user speaking the word racist, which first showed up as Trump before switching back to racist. Fox News Digital was able to replicate the issue multiple times. I was as well. The voice-to-text dictation feature was observed briefly flashing Trump when a user said racist before it quickly changed back to racist, just like in the viral TikTok video. However, Trump did not appear every time a user just said racist. That was the same thing that I experienced as well. I had my wife Bella check it out too. Exact same experience for her. Not every time, but probably half of the time when you actually used Apple's voice-to-text feature and you just said racist, it would briefly flash the word Trump, uppercase T. Briefly flash the word Trump before reverting back to racist. What the heck is going on there? Doge, it continues to drive all of the craziest people even crazier. Here's a TikToker who admitted she hasn't filed taxes in 8 years and overtly called for Elon Musk to be assassinated.
I promised myself I would avoid the news. But obviously I haven't. Here's my one thought. I mean, I have many thoughts. Elon Musk, like, we need to X him, and by X I mean formerly known as assassination. I know someone from FBI is gonna show up. I don't arrest me. You don't have enough people to even investigate me at this point. I haven't filed my taxes in like 8 years. And yet, no one's covered me. So, I'm going to say it. Let's assassinate some motherfuckers.
That is a TikToker who just admitted, for the whole world to know, she hasn't filed her taxes in 8 years and overtly called for Elon Musk to be assassinated. Here's the kicker, though. U.S. Attorney Ed Martin for Washington, D.C. just announced an investigation into this TikToker who called for the assassination of Elon Musk. One more quick hitter before our break here. Governor Augustus Gloop of the great state of Illinois has this to say about RFK Jr.'s plans to make America healthy again. Quote, RFK Jr.'s views are dangerous, misguided, and deeply disturbing. Frankly, his policies will hurt people. I will push back on any attempts to disrupt the health and safety of Illinoisians. That is Governor Augustus Gloop of Illinois. The only thing that is pushing back on anything right now is your midriff pushing on your belt. Governor Gloop, just want to get that in there. All right, when we come back, it happened or nearly happened again. How can this keep happening? Don't mosque with Texas. And what would happen if we discovered the bones of Jesus Christ? A well-known apologist has an answer that's coming up next. That is the sound of a Southwest Airline Boeing 737 jet right before touching ground. They were literally doing their flare and rotation, trying to land a plane at Chicago's Midway Airport before having to do a go-around because a Learjet crossed into the runway. It was an incredible job by the Southwest pilot, whomever that is, who deserves a medal for making the split-second decision to do a go-around because there was another airplane in the runway. Well, pretty quickly, we figured out who the culprit was. It was that Learjet. Listen to air traffic control.
Flightjet 560, turn left on runway 4 left, cross runway 31 left, and hold short of runway 31 center.
Right, left on 4 left, cross 22 or 13 center, Flightjet 560.
Flightjet 560 negative, cross runway 31 left, hold short runway 31 center.
So that is air traffic control telling this FlexJet Learjet to turn left and hold short of that runway.
Cross 31 left, hold short 31 center, Flightjet 560.
From flight radar, you can see that this Learjet continues on. He turned left and approached the runway that he was supposed to hold short of. Right as the Learjet came up to that runway that they were supposed to hold short of, that's when the Southwest Airlines flight comes in. You can hear air traffic controller pleading with FlexJet 560, hold short.
Southwest 2504 going around.
Southwest 2504 going around. That pilot made the last-second, split-second decision, hey, there's something in the runway, I gotta put on the full thrust and get out of here.
2504, roger that, can maintain 3000.
Flightjet 560, hold your position 2504 up to 3000. Hold position, Flightjet 560. Flightjet 560, continue across the hold short of hotel.
Cross the hold short hotel, Flightjet 560.
Flightjet 560, your instructions are to hold short of runway 31 center.
So yeah, there you heard it. You heard the entire exchange there. That FlexJet, that Learjet that crossed the runway, nearly resulting in disaster, if not for the quick reflexes and decision-making of the pilots on board. That Boeing 737 Southwest Airlines flight, that could have been disastrous. But it's pretty obvious who was in the wrong here. It was the pilot of that FlexJet flight. Praise the Lord, nobody was injured or killed in that latest near disaster at America's airports.
Today, we take the next bold step. We are proud to announce the successful purchase of land for Epic City.
402 acres of beautiful scenery. Welcome to the future of living. Welcome to Epic City. Nestled in the heart of Josephine, Texas, it is about 20 miles and 20 minutes from Epic.
That is a promo for a 402-acre Sharia enclave rising in Josephine, Texas. This story is from Texas Scorecard. Texas Governor Greg Abbott is making it clear that Sharia cities have no place in the state, responding to growing concerns over the planned Epic City development in Josephine. The controversy erupted after reports surfaced that the East Plano Islamic Center, or EPIC, is developing a 402-acre planned community centered around a mosque and an Islamic school, while developers describe the project as a housing community designed to meet the needs of local Muslims. Critics argue that it could function as an exclusionary enclave. Amy Meck, a commentator with the RAIR Foundation, R-A-I-R Foundation, raised alarms about the project in a viral post on X, describing it as a walled-off Islamic community built around Sharia, not American values. She also alleged that the federal government was indirectly subsidizing the project through tax deductions, as homebuyers would be contributing to the construction of religious facilities. In response to the growing concern, Governor Abbott posted on X that Sharia law cities are not allowed in Texas, nor are no-go zones. Greg Abbott said, quote, "To be clear, Sharia law is not allowed in Texas, nor are Sharia cities. Nor are no-go zones," which this project seems to imply. Bottom line, the project as proposed in the video is not allowed in Texas. We'll see if Governor Abbott is able to grow a spine here and actually stand up to this really ridiculous, anti-American, and stupid idea that these Muslims are trying to pull off in the heart of Texas. Lucasfilm boss Kathleen Kennedy, who has overseen Star Wars since 2012, is reportedly stepping down this year. Chosen by George Lucas as his replacement, Kathleen Kennedy has been responsible for leading Lucasfilm since Disney's purchase 13 years ago. She's been a controversial and polarizing figure. Insiders have insisted Kennedy is no woke warrior, but instead is a careful and shrewd businesswoman. Yeah, man. I really feel for the brass at Disney. Who else are they going to be able to find to make everything woke, gross, gay, stupid, and inject female leads into basically every role possible? Who else are they going to be able to find to do this? Because Kathleen Kennedy was the master at that. And now here's this if the bones of Jesus were found and proven beyond a shadow of a doubt to be Jesus's bones, would that change your faith at all? That was the question posed by an atheist named Alex O'Connor to Christian apologist William Lane Craig during a recent interview. Now, Alex O'Connor, I never heard of him up until a couple of weeks ago. I've seen a few of his clips, and he seems to not be a frothing at the mouth atheist. He seems to enjoy vigorous debate. He asked this question in earnest of apologist William Lane Craig. Listen up.
If the bones of Jesus were discovered, for instance, to give a famous example, this would be the kind of thing, or I should form it as a question, would this be the kind of thing that would essentially just invalidate all of the religious experience that you may have had in your life, that you say sort of exists in a different evidential plane? But surely upon discovering the bones of Jesus, proving that he never rose from the dead and ascended into heaven, this would give you reason to essentially favor this evidence over the personal experience that you've had with God, such that that personal experience becomes invalidated?
If the bones of Jesus were actually discovered, then the resurrection would be false and you should not believe in it. But I think that given the uncertainty inherent in archaeological discoveries, we're never going to have evidence that the actual bones of Jesus were found. I think the possibility would always be there to say this is probably not actually his tomb. Fortunately, I don't think we find ourselves in that situation, Alex, because I think that the evidence for the historicity of Jesus' resurrection, including the empty tomb, is very strong. And so I don't feel that sort of tension between faith and fact. To me, faith and fact are aligned. But I do realize that for certain people at certain times and places in history, the evidence and the truth can be out of sync with each other. And again, I refer back to my illustration of students in the old Soviet Union who had to persist in faith in spite of the evidence that they had from their professors and teachers. And I think that they were rational to do so.
That is apologist William Lane Craig being interviewed by atheist Alex O'Connor, who was asking, I think, a very earnest question. If the bones of Jesus were discovered, would that impact your faith? And I think William Lane Craig gave an honest answer there, but I really think he missed an opportunity. The answer to that question from an atheist would be this. If undeniable evidence of a miracle performed by Jesus Christ were discovered, something that defied all known laws of physics, would that change your lack of faith? Until such a time as we can find the bones of Jesus, if there were empirical evidence of a miracle performed by Jesus being true, something that defied all known laws of physics beyond just the evidence that we find in scriptures, empirical evidence that you can see and feel and touch, would that change your lack of faith? That completely flips the premise of the question. Your reliance on empirical evidence cuts both ways. I think William Lane Craig, one of my favorite apologists, kind of missed an opportunity there. All right, from apologetics to Hooters, that's the subject of air analysis coming up next. And finally, air analysis. A bankruptcy filing could potentially be on the menu for Hooters of America in the near future. The company is looking at possibly filing for bankruptcy as a means of restructuring the restaurant chain and tackling its debt. That was first reported by Bloomberg late last week. My wife told me about this story. I'd seen a headline, but I really didn't care until I started thinking about it a little bit more. I don't really understand the point of Hooters, the restaurant. Okay, I understand the point of Hooters, okay, or the points, if you will, ba-doom-ching. But that's not what I'm really talking about here. I don't understand this. If you look at this objectively, now I'm a Christian. I don't believe that you should be patronizing a restaurant that's main attraction is the ability to ogle women who are wearing outfits that leave very little up to the imagination. Those women, of course, are not your wife, whether you're married or not. So that's what I believe. We need to establish something as well. You don't go to Hooters for the food, okay? You're not going to Hooters for the food. Can we establish that? All agree to that? You're not going there for the shrimp tartare. You're not going there for the steak de Burgo. You're not going there for the amazing endless breadsticks. You're going there for one purpose, and I just stated what that is. But anyway, back to the business plan of Hooters. The founders got together and they thought, you know what? There's a ripe market targeting men for a restaurant, and these men are just so filled with lust that they want to go ogle women who are leaving very little up to the imagination, but not filled with lust to the point that they want to go all the way to a strip club. There's also these very same men, they are also lazy enough to not want to actually find one of these women and marry them, or take care of their own wives if they're married. But they're not so lazy that they don't want to just stay home and pleasure themselves by themselves. We really think that there's a market for this. Am I getting this right? It's odd, is it not? Thinking about this even more, is it just a case that our vices just make us really stupid? And believe me, we all have our vices. So don't take this as anything short of just I'm asking questions here. It's just the oddest thing. Filled with lust to the point that you want to go ogle women who are not your wife, but not so filled with lust that you don't want to just go through the whole shebang and go to a strip club. Lazy enough to not want to go out and find a wife, but not so lazy that you just want to stay home and pleasure yourself to pornography. Am I getting something wrong here? I mean, are the people who go to Hooters, are the men who go to Hooters like Michael Scott in that episode of The Office where he breaks up, or his girlfriend breaks up with him, and he keeps playing the sample of the song on iTunes over and over again?
Why don't you just buy the whole song?
I don't have to buy it. I just want to taste it.
I have to think that's kind of the equivalent of guys that go to Hooters. They just want a taste of the real deal. It's just odd, don't you think? I'm a red-blooded American male. I'm attracted to my wife, so much so that we've had multiple children together. But just looking at this objectively, just outside of a moral framework whatsoever, Hooters is just weird. Anyway, I know I'm inevitably going to get many, many comments from people saying, there are probably more important things you could be talking about, Aaron. Yeah, probably. But this has been stuck in my craw for the last several days, and I wanted to talk about it. That's going to do it for a Wednesday. Be sure to vote in our poll of the week. This one has to do with Airanalysis yesterday. Is Apple circling the drain? Have they done the impossible? Go vote, pinned tweet at Real AM Update on X. See you again tomorrow. I'm Aaron McIntyre, and this is the AM Update.